Hello, I'm Freelander. Welcome to the Game Trove. Today we have a special treat for you. We are talking about the Army of Fortune metaverse and blockchain gaming. But before I introduce our very special guests, uh, things we say here are informative and or entertaining, but not financial advice. And I would like to welcome our first guest, um, who is so his background is an Accenture consultant, 20-year veteran in both real estate and business consulting and investing, and 6-year crypto investor extraordinaire, chief instructor and leader of the Navy SEALs of crypto, the Rainmaker family. Please welcome Jay Rain.
Hey, thank you, Freelander, for having me on.
All right. So tell me why you're excited about crypto gaming.
I like the ability that making money gives you to have options in your life. And I think this is the perfect storm for a major change in wealth, a lot of redirecting of gaming funds. In fact, an increase in gaming funds on top of redirecting. And it's going to be a massive, massive transfer of wealth. And so, what Warren Buffett once said is, the stock market is a tool by which money goes from the impatient to the patient. Um, cool analogy. I think blockchain gaming is the future of where this is going. And so, those that can identify some of the games that are going to be huge and invest in them early or buy the token early and wait it out and be patient and see if your thesis was right or wrong, you can make incredible money. Already we've seen that. I mean, I've been interested in blockchain gaming since the idea of blockchain gaming first came around, which was really 2017 with this game Crypto Kitties, but there wasn't such a monetizable part of Crypto Kitties, so I didn't really do anything with it. Then some other game ideas came out. One was Axie Infinity, one was Gods Unchained. Nobody was really paying attention to Axie Infinity outside of myself. Nobody was talking about it. When I talked to other people about it, nobody was interested in hearing about it. And it made me 100x, and I sold early. Had I not sold so early, it would have gone, it went about 3000x from where I bought at. But it took 18 months to go the direction I wanted to, because the first 18 months it went down. And most people who bought when I did, they panic sold out of it, sold at the bottom. And instead of making 100x or 3000x gains, they actually lost money. And so they just doubted themselves and questioned that blockchain gaming would be a thing. Once Axie Infinity had a game that was working in the next crypto bull market, it absolutely took off, went amazingly well, because this idea of ownership in your own game items and truly owning the items and being able to make money through certain game metrics where you are essentially harvesting your time and selling that to others. That is the future of gaming. And it's been the future of gaming for a long time, but crypto is the mechanism that makes it easy to be able to harvest that. For example, crypto is the way that people have been harvesting their time from playing video games for a long time. In World of Warcraft, they did not embrace this idea of selling your in-game currency called gold for anything. And so they would shut down your account if they ever caught you selling it. But still, there was a black market, and you could exchange World of Warcraft gold for Bitcoin. And so crypto is the ideal currency for gaming. And of course, there's better currencies than Bitcoin for it. And a lot are embracing this idea of having their own in-game token as a reward mechanism. And that's fine. On every game, I do look at how fun does the game look like it's going to be? How big of an audience might they get? And what are the tokenomics behind the token, to see if it's really interesting and to see if it might do well. Now, some people are wanting to know, like, oh, which games are guaranteed to do well? Well, most games actually don't make any money. Now, in the crypto space, because this wave of things are going, I think the numbers are going to be much, much higher for blockchain gaming, and that many more will succeed than what normally happens in gaming, because the wave is transitioning this way. Like Axie Infinity wasn't even a super cool, fun game, and yet it became the 10th highest played game in the world. And it wasn't because the gameplay was so enthralling. It was because people could make money through playing the game and then selling their smooth love potion that they were earning. So this
So
idea of being able to make money or monetize the time that you put in is absolutely game changing, and it will change crypto. It will change like gaming, like we've never seen. And crypto unlocks that, as well as we will see additional money come in because businesses will be interested in this. We even saw this with Axie Infinity, that some businesses, people form businesses around buying land and other assets. I think as games really embrace that, it will go even more.
hello.
Hello.
Second special guest is here. I would like to introduce you real quick. Thank you, Rain, for that rundown of your excitement behind blockchain games. So we have actress, venture capitalist, Neo Tokyo citizen, and fabulous chief marketing officer of AOF Verse, aka Z3 Bros, Kamo, aka Coco. Welcome.
Hi. What a great intro. Thank you. I have so many names and so many titles. Down a bit.
I think the three of us have done lifetimes of different stuff. All three. I won't get into my background right now, but I have done a lot of different things in my life. So, owned businesses and raked yards. Just all of it. So.
Yeah, you got to live life, right?
Yep. All right. Anything I missed in your intro, you could fill in, Coco, or we could just get right into what AOF Verse is.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Awesome. So I'll put you on main screen here. Sorry about that. There we go. Awesome.
I need to get myself a cool background.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So yeah, just a little bit about AOF Verse. So AOF Verse is a gaming metaverse. So we're bringing the metaverse to the mobile technology through the gateway of games. So we're building a platform full of games. Our first game is Army of Tactics, which is a strategic auto battler. And our flagship game will be coming out next year, with the closed beta starting in Q1. And that would be actually, it's a genre-defining game that's never been played before, in the sense that the gameplay loop is completely new to the market, and that will be our flagship game. So yeah, we're really keen to build the metaverse through the mobile, because let's face it, mobile technology is just getting more and more advanced every single year, and we really believe that that's going to be the gateway before any other piece of technology.
Can I interject there in just the numbers of it? Is that more money is spent on mobile gaming than any other gaming sector? Is that correct to your knowledge?
Yeah, so it's about $92 billion of the total market cap of the gaming sector, which is approximately 50% of the entire gaming sector. And it's actually way bigger than, so it's bigger than the individual segments of PC gaming or console gaming put together.
Yeah, so it also gives more access to more people, which I think fits really well with the ethos of crypto itself.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
access.
like you've got more people in sort of the furthest parts of the world who have mobile phones before getting PCs or laptops, and smartphones are, people sometimes say to us, well, it's complex trying to build a metaverse inside a phone, right? Rather than like this kind of big screen laptop or computer. But the truth is that the capabilities of mobile tech is just getting better and better, and actually we're trying to keep up with that and banking on that, really.
Yeah,
it's interesting. There were a lot of game companies 15 years ago that said mobiles, or 10 years ago, were not the way to go, and several of your team members come from Supercell, which built Clash of Clans. And I think Clash of Clans was one of the early games that really proved how mobile gaming could be so lucrative. And a lot of the existing game companies totally missed out on that, right? They tried to take Assassin's Creed and put it on a phone, which didn't work at all, and nobody played it. Instead, it was built around the capabilities of a phone in a simpler gameplay loop. I'm interested in what you said about the new game coming out, because by trying a whole new gameplay loop that's never been tested before, it's an experiment, and it's an experiment that could massively succeed or massively fail. Have you done any kind of user testing on that new gameplay loop to see how people are interacting with it?
Yeah, so we have done quite a bit of testing on this particular game, but it's mainly been through sort of like very, very close knit community with a tight knit circle. The main thing with this is it's interesting how they came up with the gameplay loop. So this is something that the team at Supercell used to do, and I'm probably not allowed to say it, but I will hint to it. So there's a very particular way, and it's to do with the way that the team dynamics are, keeping a tight team.
If you'd like to do this in the private, we could do that as well. But I'll let you keep going.
Oh yeah, I mean, I probably could say a little bit more in the private space, but it's to do with the way that how Supercell were building games right when they were creating games, and it's something that's inspired Zhao to bring into Z3 and use that as a foundation for building this new genre. So,
because Supercell introduced a new type of gameplay loop, right? I don't think prior to Clash of Clans there was anything like that. Well, since then there's been a million copycats of it, but part of the success was a new gameplay loop that ended up being very attractive, and people played it and then spent massive amounts of money for additional builders and other things to speed up like building construction stuff, right? I remember one of my friends saying like 10 years ago or 12 years ago that Supercell was like the first mobile game company to make like $1 billion in a year or something. I was like, what? $1 billion?
Yeah. I mean, they went from like nearly broke to 10.2 billion valuation in 2 years. I think it was 2 to 3 years. So like, I mean, their core team sort of tapped into this kind of completely an unexploited market that was there and ready to be taken. And this is kind of what inspires the three co-founders to kind of move into this next wave or phase of innovation, right, with Web3, because I think it's a similar sort of idea, right, with Web3 and mobile technology. At least as from a personal experience, I find that it's not there yet. If you want to do anything complex with Web3, you're still doing it on a PC or a laptop. And so the people who can really tackle and break that technology barrier on the phone, and especially through such a sort of like a really fun way of like for a gateway to gaming, right? Gateway to Web3, sorry, is through gaming. And if they can do that, then I think you're tapping into a whole other new phase of the mobile game technology.
Yeah, I think part of the success of mobile gaming is, number one, you're able to reach more women, because a lot of women don't have the powerful computers for gaming because it's not important to them, but they do have extra time during the day that games that interest them. So I think it's led to much broader adoption from a 50% of the population that is women. Secondly, it's just, even if you are a hardcore gamer, sometimes you're traveling on the subway or other things and you have internet connection, but you do not have your really big PC. And so even hardcore gamers were picking up mobile games because there were oftentimes they couldn't play their hardcore games. So it just reached such a broad audience. I'm curious to see where cryptocurrency goes with mobile games, because I think the demand for being able to capture the value of your time has been there since early 2002, 2003 with MMORPGs like World of Warcraft and EVE Online. People were selling, actually back then you could sell your in-game currency on eBay and they didn't stop you, even though it was against the terms of service of the games. They started enforcing that about a year later, and since then people would then sell their World of Warcraft gold or ISK from EVE Online, they would sell it on a black market, but really that's just a way to monetize the time that you're spending in the game, earning that and being able to sell it to someone else. And so this idea of value capture for your gaming time has been around and needed for forever, but it wasn't until cryptocurrency kind of enmeshed with games that it's really unlocking that, and gaming companies are embracing that. And I think those gaming companies who don't embrace that are going to be left completely behind.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head with the idea that actually cryptocurrency and blockchain technology has the power to capture the time spent in game, or the effort that you put. And I think what we went wrong with as an industry in the beginning is that we kind of gave away the rewards to, like, for example, NFT purchases. We gave it to the highest bidder rather than the time spent in game. But I guess at that time we didn't have the games there yet. Now we're 2.5 years into the industry, maturing. We're at a stage where companies can afford to say, hey, this NFT can only be acquired through playing the game, and then it really rewards those people who take the time to play in the game.
It does, and those are effective, right? What I find interesting is the way this is going. And back during the last bear market, crypto bear markets are boring as hell. So I went back to playing some different games to see where video gaming might go. And I played EVE Online again, which I hadn't played since 2005. And there were major corporations. And I just heard whisperings that maybe that some of the people running the corporations, they were selling some of their in-game stuff on the market and making, like on the black market, and making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what's interesting about that idea is that goes with the idea that I think there will be like people managing guilds or managing businesses within video games in the future that will be making over $1 million a year by managing their own clan, not even part of the game development company themselves. They're a player in the game, maybe managing their own guild. That because of the money that will come into this, that some of them will be making millions of dollars a year. Because I think as people can capture the value of their assets, and as certain games get major long-term traction, kind of like World of Warcraft has or EVE Online, that it can attract serious business people who will then run businesses that create greater efficiencies and literally make millions of dollars by managing their own corporation within a video game.
Yeah, and that's another beauty of blockchain technology, in that there's so much composability available to be taken, right? So once we build out the metaverse or build out our IP on chain, there's nothing stopping anyone building on top of it, because all the data, or at least a big portion of the data, is available freely for people to have. And if people love that IP and there's millions of eyes on it, there's not a barrier to entry. You can set up any business that uses and tracks the data that's coming on chain. And I guess that's the great nature of permissionless technology.
Yeah. Now, I have a question. I was reading through your white paper. And so you guys have created some IP out of your game, Army of Tactics, and some of the characters in there. And it suggested like this is the actual TikTok following of them. Are those the correct numbers, the screenshot it has in there for some like little videos you've taken? Some of the characters created some really funny TikTok videos, or at least that's what it suggested. And that, what was it, like 15 million likes or something on one of the videos with one of your characters in it.
Yeah, that's the sort of traction that we're getting. I mean, at one point, I think we're still getting about like 50,000 new followers a week on the TikTok.
Yeah, I want to share that screen. Would you mind, Freelander, sharing the screen so that everyone can see this? I thought this was a really cool marketing idea, and I've not seen anyone do that. So you took one of your characters, Blake the Gobbler, made a TikTok account for them, did all these little 3D animation videos, which we're looking at 30 million likes, 2 million followers. and this is the actual account?
Yeah, this is the one. There's the one of two. So we have the Frog Pikeman and Blick the Gobbler. And in terms of the IP, and I think that's the strategy that we've gone for, is like IP led, because you find a character or a story that people love, then you've kind of captured their heart in a way that kind of is really helpful to building brand, building interest, and then segueing them into the game. And so, and what's great about this is that because we're Army of Fortune, it's like an ever-growing army. We've got sort of our core group of army. Like you'll have seen lots of different characters in both in the game and in our artwork that we can then use to build upon this IP and create more TikTok accounts or use in different games, because we're expecting to have third-party games as well join our ecosystem, and part of the requirements will be is that they have to adhere to our IP requirements and incorporate certain characters, but there's nothing stopping them from having actually their own ideas about maybe the characters that they see that we've presented them with don't really resonate with them. That's fine, they can create another one or another few, as long as it fits with our style and it fits with the overall theme, so it keeps it a cohesive space. Like, it's another way that sort of UGC and content creation can be inclusive and as we call it, a co-builder.
For
those the viewers that don't know UGC, it's user generated content, which is really the big idea of how do you get your followers making videos on your own content, or people that are passionate about your stuff making videos. Because it used to be, what I found so interesting about this was, it used to be that, like, so Transformers, they wanted to sell lots of toys, so they made the cartoon, but the cartoon was really to augment their IP, right? And so I don't know that they even made money off of the cartoon so much as that helped them be able to sell more toys. And they did that with G.I. Joe, He-Man, etc. And this is kind of running with that same idea, which I haven't seen any game makers do. And when I was looking through your white paper, I thought this is fascinating and clearly getting traction, right? So 31.2 million viewers or likes on Blick the Gobbler and 27.7 million on Frog Pikeman. And the videos look pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, and also what's great to see is that our early gamers or players are actually coming from TikTok. So the sort of reach that we have on TikTok is now slowly turning towards what the actual intention is to convert these viewers into players.
Yeah. It really goes to credibility when you have like big accounts like this and they see that, and it's an experiment. We don't know 100% if it'll be successful, but I'm guessing it will not hurt at all. And if anything, it will be anywhere from helpful to massively helpful.
Exactly. It's not the only way to attract customers, attract players, but it really helps with building a brand for sure.
Cool.
Yeah. Sorry, Freelander, I know you wanted to say a few things.
Yeah. I like to interject probably too much, but I was going to say I'm really jealous because you're stealing one of my ideas for I had a year or two ago. I came up with an idea for basically like a game that has like the core game loop of like Clash of Clans, where it's base defense and stuff, but like sci-fi where you have a game that gets you to the game and just different attack vectors, different play styles and stuff. So basically a metaverse before I knew what a metaverse was. And so it's really cool just to see these worlds taking shape and like worlds I want to be in as a gamer, really taking form. So really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Well, if you have some ideas, you can always bring it to the table for AOF first. So
I'm always willing to do that. So
yeah, top content creator you are.
I'm better at it than I thought I would be. So all right, Rain, do you have any other questions for us?
Yeah, real quick for those that are viewers. This is kind of the public just discussion, but I'm always curious because I look at the monetizability. You have two tokens, right? You have your AFC and AFG, and your AFG is kind of like you'll have voting rights with that. What are the other, and you need that to upgrade, say, islands and upgrades some of your demigod NFTs. Is that the use case for that token?
Yes, so it's instrumental in getting to what we call like the premium aspects of the game. So if you want to try to mint the NFT inside the game, you'll definitely need AFC and AFG. Upgrading will also require AFG, and also, like I mentioned, governance.
And what chain are those currently going to be on?
Arbitrum.
Okay, cool. That can handle it pretty easy. And then, so people that just come in, essentially the game's free to play, they can come in and start playing, and they'll end up being able to get more characters, which kind of rounds out their possibility of which characters to play. But then they can start earning AFC and even possibly AFG just by playing without having to make any kind of investment, right?
That's true. Yeah. So you can just play the game and go really far and just continue to accrue and spend AFC in the game. And I mean, you can deposit money into the game. When I say money, I mean AFC. But you can also buy it straight from the shop. So we have a shop, and actually that's buying straight out of a liquidity pool on chain. So that's really a great feature that we love, that Web2 players are completely unaware of, generally speaking.
So I saw that they can make an in-app purchase, say, through their iPhone, and what it would do is you'd have to pass on the iPhone fees, which is like 30%, but it allows people that have no crypto background to be able to buy those tokens, and they end up buying them essentially from the players who have put it into the liquidity pool, or whoever's put money into the liquidity pool. And,
Exactly.
and I love that because it reinforces those that are taking more time. Yeah, at first I thought you were just going to sell those and generate more, and I was like, I don't like that. And as I was reading deeper, it's like going to pull it out of the liquidity pool, which I think is very fair to the people playing and earning the tokens and then putting them into the liquidity pool. So really good metric. Really pleased with that.
And it's just one of the few sort of, like, we're just starting out with how we want to see that integration of Web3 into our game. And it's one of the moments that I kind of, when I first started playing the game, such a delight for me when I realized, I was like, oh my God, I can do an on-chain transaction and it's through Apple Pay on my phone. And I've just downloaded this game, like, no issues whatsoever. It's for a geek like me, it's quite exciting. And I think that's just the first of many. I think there's so many more things we can do. I'm really excited to bring the idea eventually of when you sign up in the back end, you have a self-custody wallet, but you don't need to know about it because it's not important to you at that point. As and when you become like a serious player and you care about, oh, I have this NFT, oh, but I could sell it because I don't want to be a clan leader. These kind of things, these kind of thoughts that you may have, and the options that you can have, then you might be like, okay, what do I do next? And then you can be introduced, oh, by the way, did you know you have this self-custody wallet? And the reason that actually, in terms of timing, I think with that back-end integration, timing is everything, because right now with ERC 4337 and so that technology could radically change the way that people interact with self-custody wallets, and hopefully kind of move into an era where seed phrases are not necessarily the only way to access a self-custody wallet. And so if we can time that right, you can actually have a back-end wallet that is so much more user-friendly, even when they do decide to jump into the Web3 side of it.
Yeah. Jack was asking a good question. Arbitrum would probably give a grant to AOF if the proposal was drafted up. Has your team considered that?
Wow, very good question. So thanks, Jack. We did actually apply for a grant, but it was about 3 weeks ago, I think I submitted it, and they do say that it takes a little bit of time for them to get through the grants. But yeah, I'm keen to get support from Arbitrum and collab with them a little bit more, because obviously we're building on their chain, and from a company perspective as well, it can be sometimes very hard to attract talent. There's a lot of stigma in the developer space for building in Web3, and then obviously there's the added element of the fact that we're building in the sort of mobile development side. So it really limits us in terms of our talent base. And I feel like I have this concept that Arbitrum has access to a lot of the talent, but who knows? Maybe they'll accept it.
For the viewers that are watching this and aren't super familiar, quick summary would be that a lot of your team comes from, or many of your key players comes from having worked at Supercell, which built Clash of Clans, which was one of the most successful mobile games of all time. Probably they were getting a little bit bored when games come into mobile mode or like maintenance mode, and they wanted to go back to innovation mode. And blockchain gaming is where the innovation is happening, and you are seeing a lot of the top developers move over to where the innovation is happening. But then kind of this idea of you're building individual games that will work together. So building into a metaverse rather than creating this big metaverse that then has nothing in it that people want to go to. Because I watched the early stage of Decentraland and Sandbox, and the idea was really cool. Once they were implemented and you could actually go in for about 2 weeks, they had a lot of traction, but then no traction because it's just quite boring in there. So you're taking a different approach of let's build all these games people want to play and make kind of like a general theme, which then will create the metaverse that people are already in. Is that your thoughts behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting actually, because I know that, like, for example, the gaming meta right now is really popping, but the metaverse one is lagging. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, like, when you're creating the metaverse, it's a great concept, but you're not yet giving people a reason to be there, because simply social or simply novelty is not really going to keep them there. But if you start with the IP, which is like the characters in the world, and then you give them the reason to be there, which is the games that are sticky and fun. And then, as you spend time in any app, you become more and more entrenched in all the little details of it. And then you find, oh, wait, this button takes me to this. Okay. And I have a special offer, and so you can have like shop fronts, for example, or, oh, this NFT has benefits in this game too. Let me try this other game. And so as the games grow, reason to stay in that world grows. And that is essentially the metaverse, right? It's like a virtual world.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Coco, real quick, could you, or take the time you want, could you talk about we just covered a lot of it, but the 10-year vision of Z3 Bros?
Wow, the 10-year vision. Yes. So as I mentioned before, we are creating the gaming metaverse. So it starts with games, and that's the reason people want to come into this metaverse. And then as both the mobile technology allows for it, but as we also build more games, we're building a suite of games that all have the foundation of the same IP. And then when people enter this app, they can play multiple games, but then also we'll be partnering with companies that may offer virtual shop fronts. You can also have social elements. So ideally, like maybe you can friend people inside of the game, and a bit like, how in Snapchat you have like an avatar, you can have like a digital identity, but that digital identity also carries maybe like your gaming profile of how you've played in the games or what level you are in different games. So you can do a number of different things. You can have social interactions. You can interact with your clan, which is obviously very much tied to your gaming experience, play the games, and a whole host of other things. There's one other thing that I'm very excited about, but I'm definitely not allowed to talk about it. So
Awesome.
keep my mouth shut.
We love suspense and the mystique that is there. We also hate it at the same time because we want to know now. All right. Cool. Any final thoughts from either one of you?
I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Rain, would you like to close us off by talking a little bit about the Rainmaker family and just usher us over to the private chat?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for joining us, Coco. We're moving over to a private chat with my private Discord community, the Rainmaker family, where we can just discuss a lot more behind the scenes. It's not a public video. You have to be in the Discord to be able to get access to this. Part of the reason I created the community is because interviews such as this, like I'm really interested in blockchain gaming, and you don't learn near as much unless you're speaking to the teams as just trying to read their Twitter and figure out things or interact on their Telegram. So these interviews are just key to better information and figuring out what's worth putting my time into. So thank you, Coco, for joining us, and we'll be moving over there. I'll send you both a link to the StreamYard in just a sec.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Coco and Rain. I will catch you all later. Freelander out. Awesome. So he'll send us a link.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks. That was really lovely.